My name is Justin Boardman. I'm a former law enforcement officer from West Valley City, Utah. I served in law enforcement for 15 years, 8 of those in patrol and 7 others in the Special Victims Unit, where I investigated all those types of crimes. Throughout the years, I worked these type of crimes in a bias that I didn't realize. And in my time as a detective, I attended a training with Donna Kelly, who you'll hear from or have heard from already. And we collaborated on a project to integrate trauma and being trauma informed into an interview process for officers and detectives to use. This was life-changing for me. I saw what I'd been doing wrong. We had the interview study, and it came back with really good positive numbers. But the most important portion of this was how our victims felt with the process. You'd call that procedural justice, if you will, that they were supported throughout the report and the investigation process. So we were actually doing less harm. But in this process, we also learned about ourselves in law enforcement and how our brains work, which is the same as our survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, other people that have been traumatized. And we saw how we could recognize this in our cases. How it worked for me in the interview process is when I would recognize something that occurred traumatic, like from, let's say, tonic immobility, where one freezes. And they can freeze verbally, they can freeze physically. It was these sort of things that happen to our victims that could be counterintuitive to us in law enforcement. Why didn't they fight back? Why didn't they scream when there was people right next to them? That sort of thing. That helped build additional empathy for the people that I was talking with. That also made them feel more comfortable to be able to access more of that information in their brain. And when I would ask questions around sensory, open-ended questions, so that they were able to give me more than just a yes or no answer, what that would do, and showing patience, would give you a whole lot more added information. So they would tell you more about their experience. In the past, especially when we worked in patrol as officers, we would just want to get to just the facts, and we would just want to hear where the law was broken and gather the evidence around that and move on. These type of cases are different. These type of cases, you need to get as much information as you possibly can. Even if it may not apply to your case, you never know. And when you do that, people will share more and more information with you, which gives you additional evidence to corroborate your case and to go out and prove it. Sometimes locate physical evidence, sometimes locate additional witnesses. What I found the most impactful about learning the neurobiology of trauma and about using the interview process is the procedural justice. We're not going to win every one of these cases. We may not even file half of these cases because of the evidence and the different laws and things like that. But how we make them feel and how their closure from the process happens, that's what I get the most impact, is seeing them being able to move on.